what is happening in the local real estate market the last month since COVID-19 has really set in. That's what we're going to talk about today. What's up, everybody? I'm Jeff from Homes by Bonk in Hoboken, and we are doing today a monthly update for March of what happened in the last 30 days in the Hoboken and Hudson County real estate market, and take a look at what effect that COVID-19 and the coronavirus had on our marketplace and what activity and what things have been happening. So just to lead up to this a little bit, give you a little backdrop of what we've seen so far this year. We saw in Hoboken, Hudson County, a very, very busy late winter into early spring, which the springtime in the real estate market in our area usually starts in maybe late February, early March. Every year it's been starting earlier and earlier. We really saw things kick into high gear and saw a lot of buyer demand starting about mid-January this year. So all of January, half of January, and all of February were very, very busy. And we saw a lot of deals go under contract, and we saw a lot of listings come to market that got gobbled up very quickly. So the number one question that most people have, especially our pending clients, is what is happening with pending transactions? Now we're going to get to numbers in a little bit, but I want to talk about what's just kind of happening, what the tone is, what the vibe is, and what people who are currently transacting in this market are really, what they're doing and how those deals are unfolding. So what's happening right now with pending transactions and move-ins? So for the most part, we're seeing things stick together. We're seeing buyers who still want to move forward on deals. We're seeing sellers who still want to sell their properties that are already under contract. Every once in a while, unfortunately, we've had situations where maybe someone's lost a job, someone's job situation has changed, a job transfer that they were going to be getting didn't happen, and they might have backed out of a deal or are trying to find a way to no longer move forward with their deal. But for the most part, we came running into this mess with a good amount of pending business. Almost all of it's still moving forward. So most people are still taking advantage of low interest rates, and they found a house they really, really wanted to move into or own. So they're still moving forward with those transactions. We also have about 5 or 10 rentals that are going to be people moving into them in the next 30 to 45 days. And those are the same situations. Most people are moving forward. Most people found that home they want to live in for 12 to 24 months in the future. So they're moving forward. With move-ins, we do have some moving pieces. Some buildings are starting to restrict move-ins and restrict move-outs if people are coming from New York City. But for the most part, the moving company, and you're planning ahead and you're communicating with your agent, communicating with the landlord, communicating with the other side of the transaction, things are still moving forward pretty smoothly, and we're hoping that they stay that way. We will see what comes in the next few weeks. Big tone of the market right now is taking it day by day, week by week. We really don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And we really don't know how we're going to have to adapt or change to kind of keep up with what's happening day to day. So that's a quick recap of what's happening with deals that are already under contract or people who are already planning to move before really the brunt of the market change happened in the last 30 days or so. So next question I get a lot is, what activity are we seeing in the market right now? And the answer is, we'll get to the numbers in a second, which will kind of support this. The answer is, we're still seeing activity. We're definitely seeing things slow down. We're seeing a lot of people who don't need to put their home on the market. They're waiting. And we're seeing a lot of people that don't need to necessarily move right now. They're waiting as well. But we are also seeing people who already kind of started the process. Maybe they terminated their lease. Maybe their home is on the market and it's under contract to sell. They need to buy. They need to find a new place to rent. And some sellers that are moving out of the area already, that's already been predetermined, they can't unwind things. So people are still putting their homes on the market, and buyers and tenants are still looking for new places to move to. It's definitely slowed down. It's definitely on a needs basis. So if you need to move right now, we're definitely seeing it happen. We're not seeing it a complete standstill, but we're also not seeing people that I'm in the mood to go look at houses. I'm in the mood to maybe move this year. Let's go see properties. So let's go ahead and do that. We're not seeing that buyer or seller really. We're seeing the need to move type client right now. So before we get to the numbers, just want to talk a little bit, what are we doing here at Homes by Bonk? How are we communicating? How are we operating to make sure that we can help our clients that need to move, buy, sell, rent, or invest right now? And how are we also staying in touch with our clients who don't need to do things right now and that just want to be educated and informed? So we are working with people who need to move very, very safely. We're doing virtual tours. We're doing a lot of, if we're doing one-on-one showings, we're doing them where we're staying 6 feet apart. We're doing going in separate cars. We're not going in carpools. We're not picking up our clients. We're meeting them at properties. And if at all possible, we're using pre-recorded assets on our listings, which we already have. Or if we're showing another person's listing, we're doing Zoom calls We're doing FaceTime. We're doing things where we don't have to be physically with people. And some clients are comfortable moving forward in that capacity. Some people aren't. They want to see the property, and we make arrangements to do that. Or we wait till it's going to be a safer time. We can get people on properties that they don't need to move right now. The other thing we're doing is we're just reaching out and connecting with all of our clients, all of our people that are in our pipeline that we're planning to move. And we're just saying, look, we know things have changed, obviously, in the last 30 days. What can we do to help? What's your plan now? Is there anything we could do to support you in this time, be it real estate related or not? And if you're a client of ours, you know, you get probably 1 or 2 check-ins throughout the year. In normal times, that's just, hey, it's Mike from Homes by Bonk. Hey, it's Mike from Homes by Bonk. Hey, it's Jeff from Homes by Bonk. How are you guys? Is there anything you need, real estate related or not? So it's not a total shift of how we operate. We've always operated from a relationship building standpoint, and that's what we're doing right now. Is we're really just trying to help our community, help our client base and our database of people, and we're also providing as much content and updates on the market as possible, which is what I'm doing right now. Keeping everybody informed, because I think when you're informed, you can make better decisions rather than just saying, I think the market's hot. I think the market's not hot. We don't know. Another thing I'm doing is I'm staying very abreast of what's going on around the world. Right now, we're starting to see, at least in China, maybe them come out the other side of this thing. So we have a little bit of data of what's happening in that market, and even the real estate market. And what I'm hearing it described as, it's still early in the game, is a deep V. So they went from activity to a steep drop off and almost no activity for a month or two, and they went right back up to where they are. And the reason for that is this is not really an underlying systemic problem. There's not a mortgage crisis, or everyone's not upside down in the equity they have in their home. So we're not seeing something that's going to be a long-lasting problem. History tells us, and now some current trends are actually telling us in other parts of the world, that we will likely see, a big pause, people not taking action unless they have to. But once things get fixed, get corrected, get under control, we'll likely see a snap back to where we were, probably with even more demand. So staying abreast of that, staying educated is definitely something to do to help you figure out where you should be along your process. If you have any questions on anything we just talked about, feel free to reach out to me. We're going to jump into some numbers now. And I did numbers for both Hoboken and Hudson County. Those are the 2 main areas that we cover. We do a lot of business in Hoboken, but also in the rest of the county. If you want to see your town, if you want to see your neighborhood, if you want to see your price range even inside of one of these sectors, feel free to reach out. We're happy to run through some numbers with you specifically. We just try to keep it as broad, but also, as relevant to our audience base of people this will affect. So what I did was, March was a very tale of 2 cities type of month, right? We roared into it with a very busy February into the early couple weeks of March. News started coming out that this could be coming to the U.S., could be starting to affect us. It started affecting us, first week or 2 of March. In the second 2 weeks, definitely we've been feeling the shelter in place, the stay-at-home orders, the pause orders. So it's been a very tale of 2 cities type, tale of 2 markets here. So in Hoboken, what I did is I broke down the new listings and the under contracts, because those are the 2 leading indicators that will really tell us what type of activity is happening in the market right now. Closed transactions really aren't relevant to what's going on in this real-time situation, because those deals were solidified at about 30 to 60, even maybe 90 days before. So that's November, December, January, rather than what's happening actually in March. So people who put their home on the market, sellers, new listings, and buyers who decided to make an offer and negotiated to an agreed upon number under contracts are really what tells us what's happening right now. So in Hoboken, the first half of March, we saw 73 new listings come to the market. About average, we usually see about 125, 150 new listings in Hoboken every month. So we saw a very average month beginning of March. The second half, we see the uncertainty, 26 new listings only. So almost a third only the volume that we had in the first half. And that's literally 2 weeks followed by the next 2 weeks. We're not looking at a year-over-year thing here where you can see a more dramatic drop-off. So pretty steep drop-off. I think it's a lot of it's uncertainty. The sellers that didn't need to sell, that could wait this out for a few weeks, decided that was probably the move for them. Now we look at Hoboken under contracts. This is actually a more inspiring number, and I will make a note here that when things go under contract, it's usually an offer made somewhere between 2 to 5 days prior. So it's a little bit of a lagging number. It's not that something goes under contract on the 30th, and that's when it's marked under contract. Usually that offer was accepted 2-3 days earlier. There's attorney review, and then it goes under contract. So not 100% pure, but it's as close as we can get because we don't have data on when offers are accepted on our MLS. So we saw 35 in the first half. So 73 new listings, 35 under contract. That's about 1/3 of the new inventory coming on getting absorbed. Not a bad ratio, a pretty strong market. And in the second half, we had 31 go under contract. Again, I think that's a little bit of an inflated number because of that 3 to 4 or 5 day lag, but still pretty inspiring that we didn't see a dramatic drop off. I think we take a look at the first 2 weeks of April, and about 10, 15 days from now, we can look back at that and we'll see a more true tale and see if buyers are really backing off. But we're seeing on our team, we wrote a few new contracts the last 2 weeks, and buyers who are still, they need to move. One of them's coming out of a lease. The other one's been looking for a long time. They had a property in their crosshairs. They've moved forward with purchases on those properties, and they went under contract in the last 2 weeks. So we're still seeing that in our team and in our marketplace. Looking a little bit more broadly, we're looking at all of Hudson County now. So this is the first half. We saw 485 new listings come on the market. And in the second half, we saw 279. A drop-off not nearly as steep as it was in Hoboken. So here we're down just under 50%. The other one, we're down by almost 3 times less listings. So less of a significant drop-off, but still notable. And we'll see where that continues over the next 2 weeks. And the next thing we see here is the under contracts in all of Hudson County. First half, we saw in the first half of the month, we saw 264 under contract. In the second half, 199. So drop off there, but again, relatively positive to look at how many are still going under contract, how many buyers are still out there. So this is really what we're looking at right now, guys. I think the biggest thing we're going to really start to see maybe some changes is in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll do another video just like keeping our eye out of what that looks like. Biggest thing here, guys, is stay informed. Make sure you're aware of what's really happening in the market. We're not really seeing major price reductions or major price changes yet. We're seeing people kind of sticking tight. We're seeing some withdrawals from the market if it's not the right time. We're seeing a lot of communication. If you are buying or selling or under contract right now, it's all about communication, planning, and staying nimble, making sure that you're ready to change or adjust or adapt your plan in the next day or two or week or two, depending on what your timeline really looks like. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We've done some videos prior to this with lenders, with attorneys, with moving companies, talking about the changes that they're seeing. So it's good to coordinate with a really strong team if you're going to be doing business in this or buying or selling real estate in this type of environment. Make sure that you go in with a good team, with your eyes open, ready to adjust, ready to adapt, and you could still buy or sell a house if you need to at this time. Otherwise, guys, be safe, be healthy, enjoy some little extra time with your family. Everyone take care.